Hi everyone, welcome to my video. Today I'm going to show you how to make this super warm headband on the 40 needle knitting machine. Now this knitting machine I just picked up on eBay. It's just a child's toy. It's got 40 needles, which is the perfect size for these lovely warm ear warmers. Okie dokie, so let's get started. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to cast on with some waste yarn. So I've just brought my white needle back to the front and I'm just going to get my waste yarn. This yarn actually came with the machine, and we're just going to weave this back and forth for the first cast on row. So we're just going very slowly with the back and forth motion. Now the disappointing thing about this particular machine is that it doesn't have a row counter, so you will have to count the rows yourself once you actually start knitting the project that you want to make. So now I've just brought that all the way back to the front and I'm just going to put it into the very first tension gauge, and I'm just going to go pretty slow so that I know that they all actually are knitting. So for your waste yarn, you want to do at least sort of 5 to 10 rows so that you know that it's not going to come undone. Okay, so I've got a decent amount of rows there, which I don't think that's going to come undone when I actually cast off. So we'll just cut our yarn and just drop it in the middle there. Now the yarn that I'm actually using for the main head warmers is it's a Spotlight Super Saver yarn, and you won't need 200 grams. It'll be less than that. It'll probably be about half a ball of this. This is a really nice yarn to knit with. Okay, so we'll just get that set up. So we just place that in the middle there. Well, I actually like to go just the other side of the needle where my waste yarn just was, and we're just going to lock that into the feeder. Bring that up a little bit. There we go, so it's in now. So I'll just pop that in the third tension gauge because it is a little bit thicker. And the same thing, first row, just go super slow so you know that it actually is knitting. And that looks like it's knitting quite well. So we're on row 2, so we're going to need about 85 rows. So I'll see you once I've finished my 85 rows. Okay, so we've reached the 85 rows. As you can see, it's knitted up quite nice. So what we need to do now is we're just going to cut the yarn and I'm just going to drop that in the machine, and we're just going to grab our waste yarn And I'll just pop that the other side of the same peg. And we're just going to do a generous amount of rows of waste yarn because you don't want it to come undone. Okay, so I've got a decent amount of waste yarn there, so I'm just going to cut my waste yarn and just drop that in the machine. So now we're just going to go around again and all of this will pop off. There we go. So this is what your headband is looking like so far. I'll just move that machine out of the way. So I'll just give that a little bit of a stretch. Try not to pull too much where your waste yarn is. And what we're going to need to do now is we're just going to close the tubes. So you get your crochet hook and we're just going to hook in either side and pull it through. I tend to start the opposite end to your thread because when you get to that end you pull it through and you do a little knot. So it's handy to have that right on the corner. So if you don't know how to do this, I'll just run you through very quickly. So you get your crochet hook and you just poke it through. You can see it's a different color and just pull it through. And then you go to the opposite side, find your stitch, poke it through and pull it through. It's so easy. It does take a little bit of practice if you don't know how to crochet. I'm using a crochet hook number 5mm. But if you don't know how to crochet, you could sew it off if you wanted to do it that way. But with using knitting machines, it is handy to learn how to crochet. It's a lot easier than knitting, I think, and it's also a lot faster, but you can do really nice edges if you learn how to crochet, and it can give your knitting just a little bit of stability. So I've reached the end now, so I'm just making sure that I definitely have the last stitch, and I'm pulling through there. I'm getting the yarn and I'm just going to pull through and make a knot so I know that it's nice and secure. So this is what it looks like once you've joined it all up. I'll just check that I haven't missed one. No, I haven't. That's just the way that it's sitting. So as you can see, it's all nicely placed, so you'll be able to take off that waste yarn knowing that that is nice and secure. Okay, so we'll just do the same on the other side. So you can see your little tail here, so we just want to go to the other side and just work our way down. So I'll see you when I've got to the other side. So I've now closed in the other side, so what we want to do is we're just going to remove our waste yarn. So with your waste yarn, just sort of roll it back up so you can use it again. It's a bit of a shame to throw it away. And if you're going to do lots of projects like this, yeah, just use it again. So you can see it's quite easy to remove. One side's always harder to remove than the other, but it is persevering, just fiddling around with it and just unraveling it so that you can use it again. But now that I've stitched this together close, you can see why it is important to have your waste yarn in a contrasting colour so that you can see your stitches nice and easily. If you use the same colour, it's going to be pretty much impossible to tell it apart. So there we go. So that's what it looks like once your tube is closed. So I'm just going to do the other side and I'll see you when I've done this side. Okay, so I've now pulled it out both sides and this is what it looks like once it's out. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to fold it in on each other. So you want it to look like the letter C. And we just cup it in like this. And then we're going to sew these layers together. So make sure that you get all the layers. So what you want to do as well is, like, just to make sure that you have got through all the 4 layers, just every now and then just flip it just to check you haven't got any bits that are sort of loose, and that all looks fine. So I'm going to go ahead and do a knot and then sew in my ends. Now if you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out with YouTube. Okay. So I've sewed in all my ends, so what we do now is we just flip it the right way. And there we go. That's your headband ear warmers complete. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.